Hey everyone, how's it going? Five Finger Shuffle. We are back with another video, and the update patch notes have just dropped. So, you guys already have seen, I'm sure, the videos that I posted the other day about the dev streams that they already had. So today what we're going to do is we are going to jump right into these patch notes. It's apparently pretty long. They said 17 pages of notes, so let's not waste any time and get right into this. Guild Wars released upon open beta. What does that mean? Basically, what that means is that they're leaving room to change it or improve it if we don't like it, which is good. We know there's been some bug issues in the past, so it's nice that at least they're not committed to keeping it the way it is if there's something wrong with it. New boss raid. So we already knew about this. After the long struggle against the corruption spread by the mysterious Outer, players will now have the chance to confront the Outer Harbinger, a malignant entity from beyond the edges of the multiverse. The Harbinger boss raid is unlocked by defeating Stage 5 of Widow. Boss mechanics. So we already knew about this shield. Every 50 times the Harbinger takes damage, it generates a shield based on its max HP. If the previous shield is still active when this happens, it detonates, dealing massive damage. So basically you have to use damage to break this shield, and once it goes down, you have whatever's left of your 50 attacks to do some damage to the boss, because this shield cannot be stripped. The second skill is Blade Bane. Whenever a champion damages the Harbinger, it gains a stack of Blade Bane debuff, which can't be removed but will expire after 1.5 seconds. If a champion has more than 10 stacks, this debuff detonates, inflicting damage, legendary lowered attack, and legendary disorient. Wow. So we knew that it was going to add debuffs and do damage if you got 10 stacks or more. Now we actually know the debuff. So legendary disorient and legendary lowered attack, which basically means you're screwed. You're not doing any damage to that boss with those two debuffs against you, which means you either need hallowed gear on one of your units, or you need to not take those debuffs in the first place, which is quite honestly probably the best idea. Here, let me add somebody else into this run here now that they're maxed. So basically, how are you going to avoid this? You're going to avoid multi hits. So I know a lot of people have been talking about the bombers, and somebody was asking me recently whether I would use the Dark Bomber or the Fire Bomber, and the Dark Bomber has a multi-hit. So say you have a champion like a Blademaster who does their ultimate and it does like 5 hits at the same time. That's going to give you 5 stacks right away off the bat. So yes, it only will last 1.5 seconds, but then you use your basic skill right after, and now say after half a second you're up to 6 stacks. If you hit 10 before the first one wears off, or eventually it hits 10, then you're going to get those debuffs and you're kind of screwed. So try and avoid multi-hit attacks. We'll have to play with it and see sort of which units can get away with it, which units can't. Maybe having some units on something like Adept might not work because that'll put them over. I'm not really sure. We'll have to play with it. Boss also has regeneration. If this buff is removed, the Harbinger will reapply it in 5 seconds. So that's interesting. That's an interesting mechanic. So it does have the regen buff, so you're going to need someone who can strip every 5 seconds, ideally. And finally, time twisting. Whenever a champ uses a skill to lower the skill cooldowns of another champion, the effect is nullified, and instead the target is stunned. Cooldown reduction from synergy traits and adept gear set do not trigger this effect. So you can use a synergy trait, you can use adept, but you cannot use a unit like Manaz, who is going to, or Xenia, who's going to lower the cooldown of other units, or Rhoda, because all of those units are going to get instantly stunned. Also, the Withering gear no longer drops from Steel Widow, 11 to 15, and it now drops in all stages of the Outer Harbinger. which we already knew. So here's the loot and gear sets for the Harbinger. Withering, every 10th stack inflicts Withering. We already knew that, and I've talked about that many times. Stalwart is the name of the shield set. So periodically shields a nearby ally. Shield HP is 300% of the caster's defense. Stacking this set increases the strength of the shield. So you can stack, it can stack, so which means you could run multiple sets if you wanted to. And it's based on caster's defense. You'd want to put on a defense-based unit if you're going to run a shield on them. So now, instead of needing to run like an Archangel or something, you could potentially run any unit that's defense-based, and even though they don't have a shield, you could make them have a shield because you could put this set on them. So that gives you some sort of option. I was talking about potentially putting it on like an arena defense and trying to catch people off guard that don't bring a strip. The next one is Stalwart. Periodically shields nearby... Oh wait, sorry, that's the one we just read. The next one is Potent. Potent adds 10% damage dealt, excluding ongoing damage. So we were trying to think of where we would use this, but you could use this if you have really good gear, say on a Blademaster or any damage dealer. If you have really good gear on them and you already have max crit rate, you could, instead of putting Keen on them, you could put Potent on them, and it would increase the actual damage instead of just increasing the crit rate. So it's the only 2 set that can actually increase damage, so that's nice. But yeah, mainly probably for PvE, but you could potentially use it in Arena and Guild Wars if you want to make just a pure heavy-hitting damage dealer. And then Enduring, 50% of damage taken is converted into damage over time. This damage is not a debuff and cannot be removed. 50% of damage taken is converted into damage over time. So basically, this is the delayed damage that they were talking about, which would mean that, assuming your unit doesn't die, say your nuker gets hit, and instead of dying, it'll lose half health, and that, well, it won't be exactly half health, but it'll take half the damage, maybe drops it down to 10% HP with this damage over time incoming, but then you'll still have a chance to heal that unit, so it might be able to keep you alive. Maybe another gear set for arena defense, potentially, making it more difficult to kill units. And then the final set is Martial. Another 4 set. Every 2 seconds, the next basic attack deals plus 200% damage to the primary target. We were talking about this on stream last night, and I thought it was just 200% damage, but it says plus 200% damage, which would imply that it's going to be 300% damage total, which is pretty crazy. Now, it's only on basic attacks. I still don't think there's many units that you're going to want to do this with, because are you really going to sacrifice the damage of your ultimate and your other skills in exchange for increased damage on your basic attack? That being said, as much as I really don't like this set, it might be really good for a unit like the Dino Kids, who have great first skills and don't really do much else. Could be really good on the Dino Kids. In general, gear drops of the Outer Harbinger are better on each stage than previous bosses to match the fact that it's radically more difficult than Steel Widow and Elder Drake. So I would assume that that means level 10 of the Harbinger is equivalent to level 15 of the other bosses, which most people can't do anyway. So I would assume you're not going to be able to do level 10. I know I was talking to a bunch of people who have already tried this boss, and they were like, yeah, you can't do level 10 yet. So maybe these gear sets will be helpful in getting people there, but we'll have to see. And then, okay, so here's the Guild Wars info. Let's scroll down a little bit here. Guild Wars are here. Guild Wars is a huge feature we're proud to release to you upon open beta. We're counting on feedback and engagement of the community to improve and refine this feature. Players can submit their feedback to customer care in-game within #Guild Wars or post in our Guild Wars feedback chat on Discord and in the Guild Wars Reddit tab, all available when the game mode is released. Customize and upgrade your own Spirit Guardian avatar for both offense and defense. We have already went over that in the video, how you can change the skills of it. Discover new competitive strategies in the Guild Wars. Deathmatch style battles. Find Guild Wars in the battle menu. Guild Wars available to any player in a guild with 10 or more members. So you will have to be not only in a guild, but you have to have at least 10 members in your guild. Each competitive season lasts for 1 week. To participate, a guild must register its defenses on Sunday, which means Guild Wars will start on Monday upcoming. So a week from today will probably be the first Guild War. Guild Wars has many great rewards, including deluxe shards. See meta notes below for details. So we'll get to that. I have talked about those already, but and war tokens, which can be exchanged for prizes in the new Guild Wars tab of the shop. And you can summon the new 5-star Gun Mage champion, which we've already talked about as well in the previous video. Again, if you missed these previous videos with screenshots of what these things look like, I will include the links in the description below. But in the meantime, we're just going to talk about the patches today. I'm not going to go through and show screenshots and stuff like that. New champion Gun Mage, 5-star marksman with unique effects. Nature, water, and fire elements will only be available for now. Light and dark will come in the future. I would assume that the dark one will probably be a fusion or a ritual summon. Seeing as how they already have a light ritual summon, I would guess the dark one might be coming to ritual summons at some point. New feature, recruitment. Welcome your friends in the DHC community with a new recruitment system. The recruitment feature can be found in the Recruit tab of the Friends menu. To recruit, simply send your recruitment code to your friend and have them enter it before reaching player level 10, and both of you will receive rewards. A new player can only be recruited by one person. However, a recruiter can recruit any number of players. Recruiters will also have additional rewards based on achievements completed by their recruits. Rewards for new recruit. The new recruit will get, if you enter a recruitment code, you will get the 3-star Nature Valkyrie and a 3-day XP boost. That is really nice. Let me scroll down here. So that first of all, the Nature Valkyrie, I know a lot of people were in stream recently have been saying how hard it was for them to get that Nature Valk. So now that they can get it right away, like when they first start the game, that's awesome. I'm super hyped for that. I will be trying to help out as many people as possible with that. So if you are below level 10 when this patch hits, make sure you ask me and I will give you that recruitment code and you can get the 3-star Nature Valk and the 3-day XP boost. That 3-day XP boost basically means you can progress twice as fast over the first 3 days of the game. So that's going to be really helpful for new players as well. For those of you that just started these last few weeks, or last 2 weeks, I guess, you've been very fortunate in that this event has offered you an XP boost every single day. And we've been talking about it in streams as to how, like, game-changing that is for new players and how helpful that's been. So maybe that's why they added that in there. And then for the recruiter, 200 gems each time your code is validated, repeatable up to 10 times. So you can only do it a maximum of 10 times, which is realistically, that's good that that's in there. It's too bad for me because I feel like I'm going to have an opportunity to tell more people about it. But yeah, they did cap it, which is good because otherwise I mean, as somebody who's creating content, I'd probably be able to get unlimited amount of free gems just for helping people out, which would be nice for me, but not good for the game. And then as you recruit people, you get rewards as well. So let's take a look at these rewards. 1 recruit that reaches level 15, you get a legendary disc. 5 recruits that reach level 15, you get another legendary disc. 10 recruits that reach level 15, you get another legendary disc. 1 recruit that reaches level 20, you get a tutor. As well as 5, you get another tutor. 10, you get another tutor. 1 recruit that reaches level 25, you get an ultimate disc. So this ultimate disc is a guaranteed nat 5, for those of you that didn't know. So you need to recruit 1 person, whether it be your husband, wife, kids, parents, whatever you want. If they get to level 25, you will get a free Nat 5. Now, that doesn't mean it's not a dupe. It could be a dupe. If it is, I apologize. But at least you get one chance to do that. And just so you know, it's not every single person you recruit. That's just the first time. And then the 5th time, you get 5 Chaos Orbs. And the 10th time, you get 10 Chaos Orbs. So 10 Chaos Orbs is really strong. Anyone that's currently farming... anyone's currently farming co-op, you know how long it would take you to get 10 Chaos Orbs. So that's crazy. New feature in Arena, enemy portraits. I love this. I am so happy about this. We talked about this for a long time. I know Jubagel mentioned it as well on his stream. I can actually show you guys here what that's going to look like once this run is over. Let's read this while it's moving. Fixing a bug that caused players to stop gaining points from successful arena attacks if they are logged on for several hours due to their authentication expiring. Yeah, that's not good. After defeating the last opponent in the arena list, the list should refresh automatically and should no longer break winning streaks. The 2 PvP energy reward for defeating all opponents in the list will no longer trigger if some of those opponents were disabled due to losing 3 times. Oh, so people were still getting the reward even if they lost to somebody 3 times. That's interesting. All right, let's go to Arena really quick. I happen to have one of these available. So I'm not going to start, or well, it's probably going to start on its own. I'm not sure, but I'll try and unpause it. I'll try and stop it. All right. So see how there are... Well, that didn't work very well. I tried to stop it, but anyway, on the left-hand side, you have... Yeah, let's go into an actual arena match so I can show you. And then we'll let it play itself while we go through the rest of the patch notes. Here, let's save those. I'm trying to keep track of my defenses this week. I want to see what my actual percentages are this week. Alright, just a second while this... Okay, so on the left you can see our units. We can click through all of our units. Actually, here, let me make this bigger for you so you guys can see it. Crap. Hold on, I'm coming. There we go. So on the left-hand side, we can click through all of our different units. But you can't see the enemy units on the right-hand side. That's what they're going to be adding. So when I come in here and say I focus the violet, instead of having to be like, oh, is that the violet or am I clicking on somebody else? Like if I went to switch right now, it's hard to tell who the violet is, right? So instead of being like, oh, I'm not on the violet, I'm on somebody else, I can actually look on the right-hand side of the screen and I'll be able to click on their avatars just like I would be able to click on mine. So it'd be very easy to actually focus another team. You don't have to worry about it anymore in terms of like whether or not you're clicking the right unit, or if you're having a hard time clicking the unit you want to click. That's going to solve all of those problems. So let's bring this back down and we'll continue with the patch notes. Alright, so meta/menus. New feature, Deluxe Summons. This is similar to the rare summons, but with a fixed pool of specific champions that rotates weekly. So we talked about this in the video, where in Guild Wars you'll be getting these new deluxe shards, and the deluxe shards will have a selected pool, sort of like the summons that we have here. See the limited pool summons on the bottom left-hand side of my screen here? There we go. So this only had certain units in it. It's going to be very similar for these deluxe summons in that you'll get shards for it and you can just use them to summon from that pool. And if you don't like the specific pool of champions that week, it will change to a new pool of champions the following week. So say for example, this water magical girl, if I didn't have a water magical girl, I would have saved up my summons for this week to try and get that water magical girl because I really would want her, right? So that would be kind of the strategy that I would consider using with those. And then, yeah, so find Deluxe Shards in Guild Wars and Ultimate Blitz. So we will be dropping these in Blitz as well, which is nice. And then the new Ultimate Disc, guaranteed 5-star champion from only Fire, Nature, and Water, so no Light Darks. And you'll only be obtainable in the Recruitment tab of the Friends menu. And I would guess, but I don't know if this is true or not, but I would be willing to bet that this might be available in a pack over the holidays. So if you're thinking about buying a pack in December, it will probably be a $100 pack, but I would bet you that you can get one of these discs in December. I would be shocked if they don't put one up for sale. Obtainable in the Recruitment tab of the Friends menu, which we already talked about. Fix the bug that caused XP and gold boosters to show the wrong percentage when viewed in the shop. Okay, I did not know that was an issue. Fix several issues related to display of currencies in the shop. Added KOF coin total on the results screen. Switched champions button is now available from results when using a friend's champion. So long as the mode is replayable. Beautiful. That's a great change. So it was really annoying if you're trying to use friends champs. You had to like kind of still exit to switch champions. It was faster than it used to be, but it wasn't as fluid and easy to use as it could have been. Now you can just do it right away. That's going to make changing... Whoops. Sorry, I went off the screen there. That's going to make changing friend reps much easier. Tapping a currency icon in the summoning menu will now display more information about the currency and where to obtain it. Previously, the only way to see this info is to try to summon with not enough currency. Fair enough. Fix the display issue where outfit visual effects in the shop would become distorted. Sorry. I didn't know that. A lot of these issues I didn't even know existed. Fix the bug that caused the 3-star champ obtained from a limited time summons banner to be locked. Oh, good. That was really annoying whenever you would summon from the banners and they would all come out locked and you had to go back and unlock each single one. So that's nice that they fixed that. Outfits. New elite outfits available in the outfit tab of the shop. Cyber Blademaster, which is really, really nice. Another Valkyrie one, Pharaoh Valkyrie, Celestial Dyad, and Sun Goddess Ranger. I'm sure that this is the one everybody's going to want. Although I think if it's the outfit tab of the shop, that means that those are only the buyable ones. So you'll only be able to buy these. You won't be able to farm them, which is unfortunate. I would love more farmable ones. Guilds. Fixed a bug that caused guild bonuses for crit rate, crit damage, resistance, and accuracy to apply multiplicatively rather than additively. Wow, that would have been crazy. Although they probably didn't have to put this in here since we didn't have it released yet anyway. But at least we know it's going to be working properly. This will increase the effectiveness globally. Yeah, no kidding. Fixed spending KOF energy now gives guild contribution points. Nice. And Ultimate Blitz. Rare shards have been replaced with more valuable deluxe shards. Okay, so, I mean, we knew we were getting deluxe shards, and they're just switching the rare shards. So, like, you know, when you get 2 rare shards from a run, now you get 2 deluxe shards. It's a little better because you can focus on which units you want with those shards. So that's kind of nice, I guess. Very small difference, but it's still a difference. All right, boss raids. Global boss rebalance. With the release of the Harbinger, we've taken some time to retune the difficulty and rewards of existing bosses. In general, bosses will be much more rewarding, but progressively harder in difficulty. In addition, we've smoothed the difficulty curve between normal and ascended boss raids. Specifically, Elder Drake, we felt the difficulty of the Elder Drake was already appropriate for its place in the game, but that with many players favoring Widow, he was quite lonely. We buffed the gear drop rates to make this boss more enticing, especially in early game. Ascended versions of the Elder Drake are now a bit easier. Elder Drake 15 is now somewhere between the difficulty of the existing 13 and 14. So they made ED 15 way easier. That means that potentially now people can farm ED 15. That's crazy. It might be worth farming ED 15 now moving forward if you need Keen gear or if you need Dazzling gear. So that's good news. I like that. Buffed gear drop rates from 8 to 14. Stages 8 to 9 have lower drop rate of 4-star gear and increased drop rates of 5-star and 6-star gear. Stage 10 no longer drops 4-star gear and has increased drop rate of 5 and 6-star gear. And stages 11 to 14 have increased drop rates of 6-star gear. So I assume it'd still be worth it to farm 11, but we'll have to see. Oddly enough, they didn't say... They said 11 to 14 have increased drop rates of 6-star gear, but they didn't say anything about 15. Does that mean that 15 is the same? Or does that mean that 15 now has no 5-star gear? I have no idea. We'll have to see. And Steel Widow. In general, this Widow is intended to be a step up in difficulty from the Elder Drake, but we could see that this was not the case in reality. Some players utilize early game strategies that involved bypassing the Elder Drake almost entirely in favor of quickly creating a team to farm Widow 10 due to the power of its gear rewards like Adept and Mortal. By adding the Harbinger and buffing both difficulty and rewards of Steel Widow, we want to create a clear progression of Elder Drake, Steel Widow to Harbinger, with each boss starting proportionally more difficult than the last. So that makes sense. I mean, that's what should have been happening. People were just trying to find a way around it and successfully finding a way around it, and it was good for the players that were doing it, but potentially bad for the game. So yeah, it's probably a little annoying for early game players who have already tried to skip over it and they have to go back and do Elder Drake, but realistically it's what's best for the game, so I'm okay with that. Ascended versions of the Widow boss are now much easier due to damage being spread more evenly throughout the battle, so that's good. We already knew that though, so basically your units aren't just going to get randomly one shot at the beginning of battle, so you will get less fails. Buffed gear drop rates for 8 to 14. Stages 8 and 9 have lower drop rate of 4-star gear, increased of 5 and 6. Stage 10 no longer drops 4-star gear and has increased drop rates of 5 and 6. And stages 11 to 14 have increased drop rates of 6-star gear. It's the same thing. They didn't say anything about 15 again. It's strange. Globally more difficult, but less RNG, which is kind of, I think, what people wanted. Is like, they had a good team and they could beat it easily, but then just sometimes you would randomly die and you didn't know why. So that's nice that it's better. And smooth the difficulty curve between stages 5 to 11, which is nice, because it was a huge jump from 10 to 11. Reduce damage and ignore defense ratio on the spit attack. This is the one that was just killing people, is the spit attack. So that's why they reduce that damage, which is really the main thing for reducing the RNG in the runs. Lowered the bonus damage based on the number of ongoing damage stacks on targets for all skills, but raised their base damage proportionally. Here. So we're up at the top here. Oops. This means that the Widow will deal more damage in general, but gets less of a bonus from putting ongoing damage on your champions. Immunity and resistance are still useful in the fight, but no longer an insta-win by removing the main source of the Widow's damage. Uses laser grid attack more often. This is the most consistent form of damage output, but that laser grid attack will be not as powerful as well. Fixed a bug where the AI-controlled champions would be unable to use skills while mobilized by the web. They were trapped in their AoE avoidance behavior with no way to escape. This should make the wombo combo of paralyzing support AI just before the laser grid sweep no longer an issue. Rage buff has fewer stacks per increment, but the increments increase more often. So it just, again, is going to make it more consistent. HP threshold for low HP rage buff lowered from 30 to 25%. So the intense part of the fight right at the end doesn't last very long. Alright, cool. So that doesn't sound too bad. Now, co-op bosses. Fix an issue that was causing the champions to lose all stacks of the Blight debuff after being revived. I thought that was on purpose. So does that mean co-op's going to be harder? Fix an issue that allowed players to interact with the menus seconds before a co-op game would start, leading to potential crashes. And the cooldown of Baldur's periodic protection skill will now be paused while he executes skills that make him untargetable. Okay, so well, that part, I guess, makes it easier. Hopefully they cancel each other out. Next up, game mechanics. The ongoing damage buff will now be capped to a maximum of 200%. Oh wait, hold on. Capped to a maximum of 200% the attacker's attack per second. This cap will not be affected by raise attack or lower attack debuff. So that's good. Somebody was asking about that in chat. If you could just bring like a mojo in there, raise attack, and then not have to re-gear your units, but that will not be the case because raise attack will not affect it. Gear bonus, synergy traits, and guild bonuses count toward the cap. Effects that change the target damage taken or damage received will still affect ongoing damage. Champions that do not scale well with attack have been adjusted to counterbalance these changes. For now, this adjustment will be increased in duration or stacks of ongoing damage. In the future, we may rework these champions to make them more effective with builds that make sense for them. So they're talking about the siege towers, which I already know are getting a buff somewhere in these patch notes. And I assume the snake ladies as well. Champions with strong ongoing damage capabilities like Manaz, Sharma, the snake ladies were performing well for their intended role of boss killer. However, they only need to be built a single stat, which was accuracy, compared to the direct damage dealers who have to have 4 stats: attack, attack speed, crit rate, and crit damage. This wasn't fair to direct damage dealing champions. This problem was exacerbated by the fact that each time we release a boss with more HP than the previous, the percentile damage dealt by ongoing damage would immediately scale to match the boss with no further requirement for gear improvement. Meanwhile, direct damage dealers like BM, Valk, Fairy, etc. would have to scale up their gear to match the new content. This makes designing new content very challenging since there's one mechanic that makes every boss take the same amount of time to kill, regardless it's HP defense or gear casting. Rather than make all new content have some sort of immunity or resistance to ongoing damage or nerfing the other supportive abilities of these champions, we decided to rework the mechanic itself, allowing ongoing damage to scale with the gear of the champion. This means that these strong boss killing ongoing damage dealers will now have a clear progression path just like other champions. It will still be easier to build them for their role of taking down high HP targets with damage over time than it will be to build a direct damage dealer, but at least they no longer have an unfair head start on each new boss that we release. Whew. And they weren't kidding when they said there's a lot of notes. We're only like halfway through this. Ongoing damage champions will still be equally effective when maximized to their full potential. They simply need to build stats now in order to unlock this potential. We felt this was a better outcome than lowering the potential or reducing the effectiveness of these champions by modifying their kits. So if you have a Dark Snake Lady, she will not be food, which is good news. She'll just be harder to build. Champions. Skill auras. Some skills will now be considered aura effects, which are ignored by the Harbinger's Bladebane debuff. Okay, so remember the Bladebane debuff was the debuff where every attack counts as a blade. Well, you'll receive a Bladebane debuff for each attack. So the Archangel, Celestial Splendor, Divine Judgment, and Radiant Ascendance will not count as repeated skills, which is nice. Astromancer, Cosmic Protection won't count. Mai's skill will not count. I don't know how to pronounce the second word there. Kaguru. Anyway, the Valkyrie's Thunderstorm won't count, although I don't think a lot of people are going to be using Valkyries in there. Sentinels, Electric Field, or Erratic Discharge. Espers, Psionic Barrier, or Psychic Shield. Technicians Tesla Team, and the Vampires Crimson Storm, Veil of Shadows, True Form, Night Terror, or Lord of the Night won't count as multi-hits. Let's go to switch here, and let's go into our units and see what these are. So here's the Vampire skills. True Form. Okay, so it's their ultimate skill. So that basically the ultimate on them won't count as attacks. And if we bring up the Archangels, it was Divine Judgment, right? Yeah. So the ultimate skill here, so basically the one that's pulsing, that one won't count. And who else? They said the Espers, Psionic Barrier, and Psychic Shield. Generates a field of psychic zaps nearby enemies, gaining a shield. Okay, so yeah, basically anything that's like a field of energy that repeats, it won't count as multiple attacks. And last one is the Astromancer, which I don't think people are going to be using in here anyway, but let's check her skills as well, just to make sure. Cosmic Protection. She doesn't have Cosmic Protection, so it must have been one of the other ones. But I don't think well, wait, hold on. Do I have a fire one somewhere? Yeah. Surround yourself with cosmic energy, damaging nearby allies as long as they're in front of the area. This skill also raises attack speed of the caster and reduces damage taken. Okay, so interesting. They might be saying that Astromancer is good for Widow. Or for Harbinger, I mean. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. AI improvements. AI controlled champions with immobilized debuff will no longer try to escape enemy area effect skills. This behavior would cause champion to stand still without using any skills, even though there's no way to avoid the AoE. That's good. Tiki Warrior added a synergy trait. Nature, Dark, and Light get a 40% defense buff in Guild Wars. Fire and Water get 33% defense buff in Guild Wars once ascended. Added as an ascension bonus, Nature, Dark, and Light get an added 15% resistance. So I don't know a lot of people that have built any Tiki Warriors. I know I just got the Dark one from Arena, so I mean maybe she'll be good there. We'll have to see. Archangel, Retribution, Dark, and Fire fix an issue with their damage, should not scale with their max HP properly. Angelic Flight, Water, and Nature fix an issue with their damage, should not scale with max HP properly. So no buffs for the Nature AA. Boon Sister adjusted Nature and Dark stats to better suit their skill damage as a mage. Okay, so Nature and Dark, Boon Sisters got a little bit of a buff. Increased HP and attack stats but reduced defense, so that's fine. The Divas adjusted Fire and Dark stats to better suit Marksman role. So I would assume that that means the Divas base stats are getting a buff. We're going to have to take a look at the Fire Diva. I did just pull her and 6-star her, so I'm going to screenshot her stats before the buff comes out, and then we will compare them to what happened after. Dino Kid Toxic Dark fixed duration of the skill bonus level 6. I have one of them. I didn't notice that there was an issue. We can check though really quick. Magical Girl adjusted Hoshi stats to better suit her role as a mage. So I would assume that Hoshi will also now do some damage, so that's interesting. If you can see I have my Hoshi here, the Nature Magical Girl. Maybe she'll start doing damage now, which would be pretty cool. It would make speedruns much faster. We're looking at the Dino Kid, right? And what skill was it? Toxic Dart. Oh, he doesn't have Toxic Dart. Which one was it then? Is it the fire one? Yeah, Toxic Dart. I don't know what they're changing it to, but it fixed it either way. Next up, Kandy Munchkin. Ascended Fire and Ascended Dark will now receive attack speed bonus. So Fire and Dark magical girls will get an attack speed bonus as well, which I guess, I mean, any buff is good. I will definitely take a buff on them since I have them both 6-starred. And the fairies added a synergy trait to the fairies. Interesting. Water, fire, and light will get resistance leads in Guild Wars, and Dark and Nature will get a resistance lead in Guild War. Don't really know how that would be useful. I don't mind the resistance leader skill. I just don't know if it's good on them. Fox Assassins added Guild War leader skills. Synergy trait to all element. 19% attack speed for Fox Assassins. Golem. The duration of buff stolen will consume magic is now capped at 10 seconds for light and water. The Pirate. The duration of buffs stolen with plunder is now capped at 10 seconds for the fire one. Scions. Add synergy trait to all elements, plus 50% crit damage in Guild Wars. That may... I mean, the Scion already did crazy damage, so... I mean... maybe they're going to be good there now. We'll have to see. Scanned Warlord's ongoing damage increases from a duration of 3 seconds to 6 seconds. I mean, if you're using them for ongoing damage, then that's a nice buff. I don't know if anybody is, but it's nice either way. Sentinel fixed an issue where you could stack multiple electric field erratic discharge on top of each other. So, Rivet. Thank God we don't have to hear any more buff Rivet stories, as he will now be nerfed to the ground. Sorry to everybody out there who's been building a Rivet. Ongoing damage trigger cooldowns has been reduced from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. So, I mean, I guess that's okay. At least he can do more ongoing damage. That's kind of funny, though. There's going to be so much rage over the Rivet nerf. It's good, though. Technically, he was broken. Because you could just stack... If you... Who made this video? Oh my god. I can't remember who made the video. I think it was the one from Epic. I'm pretty sure it was the one. If you're out there and you didn't... If I said the wrong person, I'm so sorry. If you want to post your link to that video, or if someone who knows the link of that video, the Rivet video that I'm talking about, you can post it in the comment section down below so people can watch it. But they basically just waited for the stacks to build up, and then they could kill almost anything. So it was possible to kill anything. It just took you forever. So even like at low levels, it didn't matter. And then the Shark added a new synergy trait once ascended. 33% crit rate in Guild Wars for the Sharks. Spearman increased damage ratio of his skill 1 from 75% to 200%. So Spearmans get a small buff. Increase in attack on their basic skills. Siege Towers. So the ongoing damage Siege Towers, which is light, nature, and water, increase the amount of ongoing damage from 1 stacks to 2 stacks, and reduce duration from 10 seconds to 7 seconds. Sean actually leaked this in Discord chat yesterday. So basically what that means is normally these units do 5 stacks of ongoing damage. And they get, because they do 1 stack of ongoing damage for each cannonball, now each cannonball does 2 stacks, which means they'll get 10 stacks of ongoing damage. But each stack, instead of lasting for 10 seconds, will last for 7 seconds. So it's kind of like an in-between. Instead of being 5 stacks of ongoing damage, it'll feel more like 7.5 in terms of total damage. Snake Lady added an ascension bonus to all elements. Is 15% accuracy on Snake Ladies. That's nice. So that'll make them easier to build. The 15% accuracy as an ascension bonus, because you now have to give them a lot of attack, will make them... It kind of counters part of how hard it's going to be to build them. because you now have to build them tanky, or sorry, you have to build them with attack instead of tanky. And the synergy trait, so if you're really early game, you get a Snake Lady. You could put them as the synergy skill, and on top of the Ascension bonus, all of a sudden you already have 56%. Definitely mana as leader is still better, but if you're desperate for accuracy and you're not landing on any ongoing damage, you might want to try that. The Technician. Improved AI, so she'll attempt to place her drone before doing other skills. Adjusted fire, water, nature, and dark stats to better suit their roles. So hopefully that'll make them a little more viable, do a little more damage for the mages. Valkyrie fixed a bug where Thunderstorm wouldn't deal damage to crystals. The Vampire, the duration of buff stolen with Hungering Swipes is now capped at 10 seconds for light and water. That's good. And fix a bug where enemies wouldn't attack the Vampire. Sorry, I just had an email come through. Duration of buff stolen with Hungering Swipes is now capped at 10 seconds. I already read that. Sorry, that was a really important email, and it just kind of flashed up and it took my mind away from what I'm doing. I really apologize, but that was kind of important. Let's try and get through the rest of this video. I debated just stopping the video there for a minute, but let's try and get through it now because I don't know how I would be able to edit this together. Anyway, I apologize. Fix the bug where enemies wouldn't attack the Vampire during Veil of Shadows. I did not know that. Let's look at our Vampire after this run. We'll continue reading the skills, and then after this run we'll check. Fix the bug where empowered skill, the same one as before, Kaguro, would always do a critical hit. And another one with the same skill where it could loop indefinitely. I feel like not a lot of people are using the Mage. I know they're using the nature one for co-op, but because it's so hard to get gear for them, nobody's really using them yet. Here, let's jump out and check the Vampires really quick. Fix a bug where enemies wouldn't attack the Vampire during Veil of Shadows or Crimson Storm. Veil of Shadows or Crimson Storm. So he doesn't have either. I feel like this might be the... Yeah, it's not mine. So I guess that's... Here, we'll check. I'm pretty sure it's the water and light ones. It says all elements, but unless I'm missing something completely here. Am I missing something? Oh, it's their... Okay, so Crimson Storm, it's their secondary part of this skill here, Hungering Swipes. So when he's in Vampire form on Crimson Storm, and when he's in Vampire form... Yeah. So the Tri-Attack skill when they're in Vampire form is what they're talking about. And that'll be for all elements. Whoops. Get back here. Alright, 5v5. So we talked about most of this stuff. I'm going to breeze through most of the 5v5 stuff relatively quickly. We already talked about the fact that they will get new talents. So at levels, I forget what it is. I think it's 1, 5, 9, and 12. When you hit those levels, when you're leveling up, you will get a choice between 2 different talents. You can, basically, depending on which unit you're running, will have different talent selections. Free champion rotation. Oh, so you can use, depending on the week, you'll have different champions that you can use that you don't have to pay for, which is nice. Or you don't have to summon, I mean. New feature, advanced targeting. When activated, 2 new auto attack options are added to the original HUD. Each option allows players to target minions or building exclusively. The option can be activated in the settings under HUD options. Players can now take actions in the menus while waiting for queue. When a match is made, ready button will appear under the Q widget at the top of the screen. Players must tap ready before the 30-second timer expires or be removed from the queue. Champion selection, timer increased from 30 to 45 seconds. These are all like quality of life stuff. Music update. Musical intensity has changed. Different events now used to trigger the music for the game to become more intense. That's fun. I normally don't have my game volume on, but it's still fun. Ally Spirit Guardian has its own music when pushing down a lane. Game start. When starting a match, the countdown of the timer will only begin once all players are connected. Thank God. I hated that when like I'm on PC and all of a sudden the game starts and we're like halfway up the lane already. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not switching lanes now. And any disconnection during the loading will turn the player champion into an AI unit until he reconnects to the game. That's good. Camera control zone, camera behavior, kill experience, distribution reworked. Experience gain is now based on the full amount of XP necessary for the defender to reach the next level. A bonus amount of experience is given to the attacker if the level is lower than the defender. The larger the gap between the two champions, the bigger the bonus. Alright, 5v5 talents. The system is designed to give players the tools they need to counter the enemy team's strategy. All champions will have to choose between the two talents at the following levels, 1, 5, 9, and 12. So it's going to depend on your class. So I'm just going to read through these really quick. I don't play enough 5v5 to probably offer a great opinion on this, but I'll at least read it to you. So as an assassin, your level 1 choice is every 5th attack applies a slow debuff on the target, or passive adds lifesteal to the auto attack when attacking a non-champion character. And then level 5, your first choice is auto attack applies the mortal wounds debuff if a main target is under 50% health, or the passive increases move speed. I'm definitely picking move speed. For those of you that ever watched me do 5v5, I could use the move speed buff. Level 9, Enrage, auto attacking the same target will apply a shred defense buff stack. A maximum of 5 stacks can be applied on a target. All stacks are removed if the auto attack target changes. Interesting. Or all damage received while under 50% health is reduced to 10%, or reduced by 10%, sorry. And level 12, while dealing lethal damage, healing for 20% of max health. If health drops under 33%, gain a massive shield for 5 seconds. Cooldown of 45 seconds. So this is going to take a while to get used to which one you want to use in which situation, but it's going to add a lot more variability to 5v5 and probably make it a lot more fun. Choice 1, reduce all incoming non-champion damage. Jungle boss damage reduced by 10%, while lane and jungle minion damage is reduced by 25%. Or passive adds a lifesteal on the auto attack when attacking a non-champion character. At level 5, all healing is increased by 10% or increased move speed. Level 9, Enrage, auto attacking the same target will apply a shred defense buff, which we already talked about, and all damage received while under 50% health is reduced to 10%. So very similar to the assassin. And then level 12, when dealing lethal damage, heal for 20% of max health and deal extra damage equivalent to 1% of the target's maximum health or 200 damage. I don't know if I should really read through all these, but Mage, Marksman, Support, Tank. I don't feel like reading all these is probably going to help you guys, and this video is already getting pretty long. So I will post this. I'll post the link to this in the description if you want to check out all the different things here. But I'm not going to read through them all because I think just reading them isn't going to do it justice. You're going to have to really research into them. Maybe we'll do a video just on the 5v5 differences. Alright, 5v5 champion balancing. This is more important. I'd rather get through this. The Archangel shield equation reduced by approximately 20% to compensate for the large buff the shield received in Update 3. So just a small nerf to the shield of the Archangel, which I think was needed. He was crazy strong. Whenever I fought an Archangel, I had a hell of a time trying to kill him. It felt like he was basically unkillable. The Ranger defense increments increased from 8.5 to 10. The result is an increase of 2% at max level. Alright. I did not know anybody was really focused on them, but that's okay. There we go. And Blademaster, base attack at 5-star, level 1, reduced from 208 to 197. Attack increments reduced from 47 to 45. So very small nerf to the light BM in 5v5. Boon Sister. Here. Boon Sister Healing Rising base modifier increased from 0.04 to 0.06, result in increased healing of 19%. So nice buff for the Boon Sister. Kandy Munchkin defense increments increased from 9 to 11. Increasing result is an increase of 2% at max level. Defense increased on the Fairy as well. Greater Demon shield base modifier reduced. So the shield is a little bit less on the Greater Demon as well. And it's increased on the Naga. So 11% increase on the Naga shield. The Diva healing reduced by 15% on Inspiring Lyrics, skill 2, and on Harmony reduced by 15%. So that's a pretty big nerf to the Diva. The Sentinel defense increments reduced, level 15, mitigation reduced from 57% to 53%, and Chainsaw has been reduced. Ongoing damage trigger cooldown reduced from 5 to 2 seconds. Technician ultimate skill damage reduced by 20%. So a decent damage nerf to the Technicians already. I haven't even played mine yet there. And the Siege Tower checkmate skill increased the amount of ongoing damage from 1 to 2 stacks. 5v5 non-champion unit balancing. So jungle monsters look like they got nerfed. The buff jungle monsters also got nerfed. If you want the details for this, you can check it out for yourselves again. It will be in the description down below. The jungle spirit guardian got nerfed. The jungle scorpion got nerfed. The melee troops got nerfed. The ranged troops got nerfed. The super troops got nerfed. And the core base defense increments. So the core got an increase in base defense, but then will not buff as time goes on. 5v5 bug fixes. Players should no longer receive messages related to sent 5v5 and co-op invites after they leave the lobby. Fix the bug that caused users to trophy score not to decay between seasons. Lower trophy decay rates between seasons. Previously, players lost 50% of the difference between their current trophy count amount and 1,000. Now it will be 25%. Fix the bug that allowed players to play during maintenance period for 5v5. After tapping the ping button, tapping anywhere outside the minimap will cancel the ping, and champions using a skill while being out of sight will no longer make the skill invisible to other players. Interesting. Cool. All right, so, and there's a picture of the gun mage if you haven't already seen it. So hopefully you guys are excited for this patch. Mainly, I mean, there was not a lot of buffs to anything outside of 5v5. So there wasn't really a huge balance patch in terms of the regular units for the regular gameplay. But that's okay. They did implement a lot of new stuff. Guild Wars is going to be super exciting. I'm completely hyped for Guild Wars. I hope you guys are too. And that'll be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it was a little long, but I did want to get through all that stuff. Again, if you want to read it in more detail, check in the description below. and we will see you all next time with another video. Have a great day, guys. Bye.